Hey guys, thanks for coming to check out another video with me. So today we're going to do radiation. It's going to be a how-to tutorial, everything I could figure out or guess to figure out about radiation. One thing to keep in mind is I did go ahead and give you guys kind of a secret coordinates note right here. If you guys want to mark those down at the end of the video, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a kind of a hint or a tip, trick, pretty good one I guess. But stay tuned and let's get into it. How we're going to go ahead and start this is actually showing you guys kind of all of the dinos that we're going to bring into this test. Basically what I've gone ahead and done is spawned in all of the dinos, even the non-aberrant dinos that are actually on the map. Started from smallest to biggest. As you can see here, these are kind of the smaller of the dinos. A lot of the actual farming dinos are going to be here. Next up we have the mediums. Go ahead and ignore the Megalania. I know he's not currently on the map, or I haven't seen him, and I know there's been a lot of questions as to where he is. He's got to be here somewhere because they've taken a lot of the other aberrant dinos off the map that weren't actually able to be found. Anyway, so now we have the largest dinos. We have the Spino, the Reaper King, the Dilo, the Paracer, and the Karkinos. We're going to go ahead and pull these guys in here, these couple at a time, just to show you guys exactly what happens and who survives, just so you guys know what you can or can't bring down into the radiation here. Okay, so first off, I want to show you guys what happens to shoulder pets. Shoulder pets survive while they're on your shoulder, but as you can see, once you take them off, they die very, very quickly, so keep that in mind. You'll see that the Ovis died actually first. I kind of wanted to show you guys all of them at the same time. I've lined up all of the small creatures here first, or the ones that we had lined up outside, just to see which ones actually make it through. I've gone ahead and all of these are basically spawning in at 150s and they're force tamed, so they're going to go ahead and jump up to the 225s. Now, they all do have kind of random healths, and the biggest thing that I noticed first off is that health is basically the determining factor on how fast they die. It's not percent based, it's basically 100% health based. So the more health something has, the longer it lasts if it's getting actually hurt by the radiation. So as you'll see, all of the dinos pretty much die off here except for the Purlovia. Now the Anky has a lot more health and it did take a little bit longer to get in here, which is why he's still standing, but with all the green specks around him, you can see he's actually dying pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys really quickly what that sounds like if they're actually taking radiation damage. So I'm not going to make you guys go through too much of that sound, but it does get a little bit annoying. That's just a good identifier that you guys can actually see if, or hear rather, if your dinos are actually taking the radiation damage. So as you can see, the Anky's going to die right here. It means the only one that actually survived out of all of those is the Purlovia. And again, note the otter on my shoulders is still alive. So let's go ahead and grab the medium dinos here and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I've gone ahead and lined up all of the medium dinos here. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fast forward through this part. That way you guys don't actually have to just listen to me talk while these dinos die off. And just so you guys can actually see where it is. Now, kind of a spoiler alert, obviously I already told you guys that the green little specks around them show what is dying or what isn't dying. And this one actually goes a little bit quick, but some of them have a little higher level. So let's just skip to the end of this one real fast. Alright, so as you'll see here, the Stego's going to die off, and the only thing that actually survived this round is the Baryonix, the Megalania, the Megalosaurus, and the Carno. Other than that, everything else died off. The last lineup for the night is going to be the large dinos. I've gone ahead and included the Basilisk. I realized I didn't actually show him in the beginning, but I wanted to make sure he was included in this. As you can see right now, the Diplo and the Basilisk are the only ones actually taking the radiation damage. Everything else here outside of what we have are the big dinos. We have the Karkinos, we have the Paracer, the Spino, and the Reaper King. So one interesting note, and one thing that I think is going to be very, very cool or very interesting to think about in general in this particular situation, is that means that the Paracer is going to be the only dino really able to tank turrets, depending on how the Reaper King plays out, obviously, in Aberration through the radiation zone. So keep that in mind. That's going to be a really cool trick, I think. So let's actually go ahead and jump into the structures now. I wanted to go ahead and test to see if any of the structure types took damage inside of the radiation. I know it's a little bit different in the overworld. So I've sped up time here after placing all 5 of the different types of structures that we've actually got here, just to show you guys what the actual damage looks like. So let's go ahead and start with the lowest to the strongest, obviously. With the thatch, it's still 100% health. Wood, showing the exact same thing, 1500 out of 1500. Same with stone, same with metal, and the exact same thing with tech. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and look at what a base would look like if they actually had some items in it. One thing I'm curious to know about is if air conditioners can actually stop the radiation. It's one of the only ideas I could think of with this. So what I've done is actually made a tech building inside the radiation zone here. I went ahead and placed 20 air conditioners just because I figured this is going to be kind of a maximum benefit thing. As you can see, we are definitely still inside the radiation zone. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take off my God mode. I'm going to stand on top of the air conditioners just to make sure that there's no sort of confusion. As you can see, instant radiation. Unfortunately, even in an enclosed space on top of air conditioners, it doesn't seem to actually stop this effect. So another thing I thought we could test is actually getting off of the ground. I thought maybe, if we got off the ground, maybe they're keeping it close to the actual items themselves. I went ahead and built a tower about 60 off of the ground here. You'll see that I'm actually completely nothing's near me. I'm not near any side of the walls, and I take God mode off, and again, unfortunately, it's instant radiation. So the last thing I thought I would test as far as structures go is actually placing one of these vacuum chambers inside of the water. As you can see, unfortunately, it looks like the water doesn't actually count as the water, and I couldn't find anywhere you could actually place one of the vacuum zones inside of the aberration map, so it doesn't look like that's going to work either. Alright, since we know now that we can't actually build in here to avoid radiation without a hazard suit, I wanted to go ahead and test to see what would happen if I died, respawned inside the radiation zone, and put on one of these suits. I went ahead and filled up that box with the hazard suit and some healing brews. Hopefully this works out pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and kill myself here really quick, respawn, and see how this actually works. Now the point of this is basically to get the radiation suit on as quickly as possible, get those healing brews going, and seeing if I actually lived through the experience. One thing to keep in mind is this is going to be very risky, because if you do have extra tribe mates who don't keep these hazard suits on hand all the time, it might be something where you have issues or you respawn or you spawn in here with gear or whatever it is, and you're not able to actually keep yourself alive quick enough. But here's what the actual effects are, what it looks like. So I go ahead and put the hazard suit on as quickly as possible after the respawn, get the hazard suit on, start chugging some of these medical brews, and as you can see, I actually caught it pretty well. I didn't lose very much health, and I'm actually regaining health faster than I'm losing it at this point, so we should be completely fine if you do it that way. So the very last thing I wanted to test, I was thinking about it and I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I could build a base really far into the radiation and use a teleporter to actually just teleport into there. Unfortunately, you see this area right here. This structure cannot be built on this arc, which means not only can it not be built anywhere inside of the green zone, the blue zone, or the radiation zone, it just can't be built on the arc itself. So you can't actually use the teleporters outside of using the modded teleporters, obviously. The normal teleporter will not and does not work on Aberration. Alright guys, so as I teased here at the beginning of the video, this is going to be kind of a little bit of a big trick. As you guys, if you guys have rather seen my Drake video or how to get down to the Drake nest, this is the Drake path. This is the path leading down to the Drake nest. Now, not only can you just walk off the side of this down here to get a little bit of a head start into getting down to get your first Drake, but this area is kind of a cool little area because even though it's inside the radiation zone-ish, you have to get through radiation to get here up and back down. It doesn't actually give you any radiation damage. As you saw, I just took off my God mode and I'm taking 0 extra damage as of right now. Now, I do want to make a note here. The actual radiation damage kicks in just about right here, maybe a little, well, probably closer to right here in the actual, when it's supposed to be working. However, I noted, and this happened to me twice, I noticed there was 2 times where I wasn't taking any radiation damage. You guys can play with this. I wasn't able to kind of reproduce it outside of the 2 times that happened to me. I kind of wonder if it has something to do with fall damage, because as you saw there a moment ago, I turned off fly, fell pretty far down, and it seems like maybe it has something to do with corresponding to that. Maybe the further you fall or the more damage you take, you'll actually go ahead and take no radiation damage for a certain period of time. The first time it happened, I was actually in the middle of radiation, taking radiation damage, took fall damage, and then all of a sudden it stopped. So someone else can play with that. I'm not going to mess around with it too much. Anyway, so this is a pretty good build area. You guys are welcome to go ahead and build there. Just keep in mind, it may be fixed if it's not an intended feature. I don't know that it is, just because of where it's actually positioned, and it is actually really, really close to the Drake nests. So that's something to keep in mind. If you are looking for a good spot to build, make sure that you're safe and get down to the Drake nest. That's about halfway down to the nest, or very close to halfway down to the nest, and it's going to save you a lot of time getting those eggs. My recommendation, if you're an alpha tribe or a mega tribe, probably going to use that spot. Just be careful. It's obviously very, very vulnerable from the top, and as we are gliding a lot in this video, or not in this video but in this arc, it's going to be kind of an interesting spot. You'll have to play around with actually how to protect yourself. But as always, if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I hope you guys liked the video. It was definitely an interesting one, and it was a little bit longer, so I do apologize about that. But if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more of these tutorials, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching.